Greetings, folks, and welcome to today's show. We're going to talk about adult education. The Department of Labor and Workforce Development, if you can get your arms around that, used to be the education was delivered through 40 districts, 40 service areas. Those have now been consolidated into 8 districts, of which we are in District 6, most of us, Coffee and all the surrounding counties. And our interest today is primarily, as I say, adult education. And we have with us as our guest, Marcey Taylor, who is a big wheel in adult education for our district. And she actually works through another organization that's always been involved in this anyway. So we'll try to unscramble that. So Marcey, thanks very much for taking the time to join us.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to come and talk about adult education. It's something that I feel very strongly is needed and love to talk about.
Why is it such a big deal?
It's such a big deal because people who lack their high school diploma are in a vulnerable situation because it's very difficult to find employment when you lack a high school diploma. It's difficult to find employment that puts you at a wage level where you can be sufficient within, so that you're able to provide for yourself and for your families.
You're going to make more money, and we'll talk more about that.
Absolutely.
Well, let's first talk a little bit about Marcey. What are you all about?
Well, as you have mentioned, I am the district coordinator for adult education in the 13-county region in South Central Tennessee. I work for South Central Tennessee Workforce Alliance. They are my employer, who is the grant holder for the adult education program in this area. So in these 13 counties, we provide classes, both day and evening classes for students that need to earn their high school equivalency diploma. And while earning the high school equivalency diploma is the service that we provide for the students to help them reach that, the goal is to help those students get into employment or into post-secondary education so that they can continue to move on.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll talk some more about all of this, folks. Let's first take a short commercial break, and we'll be right back.
All I have to do to think about what I was physically before and what I am now, and I don't ever want to go back to that original situation.
The overall mission of the rehab team is always what is best for the patient and how we can facilitate maximum potential from every resident.
Well, the most important thing to me is that I'm allowed to do whatever I want to do,
Everyday Miracles, Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
Tired of paying for monthly telephone service, expensive long-distance bills, and all those crazy taxes? Are you sick of spending money on telephone equipment, maintenance contracts, and service calls, all for a phone system that shackles you to 100-year-old technology and your desk? Stop it. It's time to ship your phone system to the cloud. What can the cloud do for you? Bring together remote offices, workers, and employees in the field. Make sure that you'll never miss calls by delivering them to multiple devices. Modernize faxing by allowing multiple faxes to be sent and received at once. And delivered to email. Get your voicemail messages instantly through email too. And take advantage of an endless supply of customizable features. Host My Calls can deliver the cloud. All of this technology with low upfront costs and not one penny in capital expense. It's time for a phone solution you'll truly love from Host My Calls. Call the number below.
We're talking today, folks, with Marcey Taylor, who is the district coordinator for adult education in the newly formed District 6, which is comprised of 13 counties, including Coffee and all the surrounding ones. So, and we were talking about, for those of you who need to be working in this area, we do have classes in Tullahoma on Tuesdays and Thursdays. right?
We do.
At the old adult education building in what used to be West Middle School.
That's correct. We have them here in Tullahoma on Tuesday and Thursdays in the morning or in the evening. And we do also have a class available in Manchester now that we just started at the end of this last year that meets on Tuesday and Thursday afternoons for those who are in Manchester.
Okay, so for the area, you can go morning, afternoon, or evening somewhere.
Absolutely.
Just find out where. Okay. And you recently started a program at the Coffee County Jail. Talk a little about that.
Thank you. Yes, we're very excited about having that opportunity. The sheriff has been fantastic to work with, and he was very receptive for us beginning classes. When we first approached the sheriff back in September of this year, we did just last year. You're absolutely right. But we just did a straw poll of those who are there currently, and there were almost 60 individuals within that facility that lacked their high school diploma. 60, yeah, which I felt was a remarkable opportunity to try and serve those individuals, and the sheriff and his staff were on board for that. So we did start classes. We started with the ladies at the end of September, and in November we added a male class.
How many do you have enrolled so far?
Well, we're able, because of the size of the classroom, we can only serve 10 at a time, but it's a rotating number, as you might imagine.
Yeah.
So we're trying to get them in and get them through as quickly as possible. In fact, we're hoping to have our first exam in the jail this month, so that we can get them tested and get their diplomas awarded.
That's pretty quick, and you got a lot of subjects to cover in what sounds like 2 or 3 months.
Absolutely. Well, and that's a fantastic thing about adult education. We know these people have lives to get back to. So we are trying to give them the core information that they need so that they can pass the exam to earn their diploma, so that they can get back into their lives, so they can get into that better job, or they can look at going on to one of the TCATs or community colleges or universities in the area to get further education.
Yeah. I think there's already some evidence out there that by increasing their level of education and their chance to move ahead in the outside world, you're also reducing the recidivism, the number of inmates that go out that wind up coming back in the jail.
That's
and that number is
right.
pretty high. I remember hearing that before, something like 80% of those that graduate. Those that get out of jail wind up coming back.
Right.
So.
And that's largely a big focus of why we're so focused on trying to serve those inmates while they are incarcerated, so that we can remove that educational barrier for them, so that when they are released back into their communities, they'll have that opportunity for a job, so that they can get back into the system and become self-sufficient.
And reduces the chance of them winding up back in jail.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll find out fairly soon how successful you've been when we get the test results.
Absolutely.
I'll be interested in following that. So, and we keep talking about adult education, and of course, the thing we really are trying to do is get the message out there to young folks and those who don't have their high school diploma, the importance of fixing that problem. What is the talk about that? Why is it so important? What's the correlation?
Well, and as we've mentioned, the importance really stems from the availability to find a job, and to find a job that will allow that individual to become self-sufficient, to support themselves and their families. But when we're talking about adult education, some of the things that are really important that I don't want to overlook are the fact that there is no charge for any of our services, for our classes, for any of the testing we offer within the program, and for those students that we're serving through the process that we go through with them. We're even able to offer them a voucher provided by the state to pay for the exam that they take to earn their diploma. So
somebody has to pay for the exam.
Right, somebody has to, and the state has offered to pay that for the individual. So that's a big concern I get from people. They're like, okay, how much is this going to cost me? And then also the second question they always have is, how long is this going to take? And that's sort of the million-dollar question, because of course everybody is individual and their needs are individual. So there's not a blanket that says it's going to take you 8 weeks or it's going to take you a year. But our focus is to take the individual where they are, at whatever educational level they are, and move them forward as quickly as possible from that point, so that they can get to the point of taking that test and passing that test.
Do you have a rough number on how long it takes?
Well, you know, again, that's very difficult, because we've had it from the perfect storm scenario where an individual came to us, and within a course of a week, between our orientation process and testing, there happened to be a test exam scheduled that same week, so that this person was able to go ahead and sign up for that test, and they passed. They were already ready to go. And so within the course of a week, they were able to start and finish.
Or if they flunk, they probably have a better idea of why. Huh?
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. Talk a little bit more about the importance, the difference between having the high school equivalency and not having it.
Absolutely. Well, and
in terms of salary, for example.
Well, and that's a big one, because of course that's where the rubber meets the road, right? Because a person who lacks their high school diploma or its equivalent, once they earn their high school equivalency, they're going to, on average, earn $10,000 a year more in their employment. $10,000 makes a big difference to a person in their family. And it also puts them in a situation of, once they earn that diploma, they're then eligible for any of the scholarships, the lottery, the Hope Scholarship, Tennessee Reconnect, that are the wonderful programs that are available out there right now to get individuals to continue on to earn certificates and degrees, so that they can get an even better job. So they're in a position then to have all that in front of them and available to them.
Okay. And also, you've got some numbers. You mentioned the $10,000 a year difference. You mentioned there was some mention of numbers, and the number that are employed versus unemployed, the number that are more likely to stay out of poverty and more likely to stay out of jail. Talk about those numbers a little bit.
Well, absolutely. One thing that we did mention when we talked about those people that are more likely to stay out of poverty because they have their diploma, again, that it's where that $10,000 bump comes. That makes a huge difference in their ability to provide for their families. Sure. And to continue to move on. And that leads right into talking about being able to stay out of the correctional system, because if they're able to find employment that helps stabilize their lives and provide for themselves and their families, they're less likely, we hope, to turn to other resources to meet those needs.
Yeah, other resources, or wind up in a drug program or what have you. Okay, and there was something like they were more than 8 times as likely to wind up in jail as somebody who doesn't have who does have the education.
Right.
Okay. Well, with that, folks, we need to take a short commercial break, and we'll come back and go some more.
Trucks, and more trucks. Keith Barnett here with the Russell Barnett Automotive family, and we have your next truck. From the Ford F-Series, the Ram, Chevrolet, or the GMC, then look no further than the Russell Barnett family. With over 350 new and pre-owned trucks to choose from, now is the time to buy. Stop by one of our 5 locations. That's Russell Barnett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Chevrolet GMC, Ford of Winchester, and Russell Barnett Ford and Kia of Tullahoma, or visit us on the web at russellbarnett.com. Why buy anywhere else?
It's time for every family and business in Tullahoma to go green and recycle. Tullahoma Public Works makes it simple and easy to recycle. Just place your recyclable materials, paper, plastic, aluminum, and cardboard beside your garbage container on the same day your garbage is picked up. Your recycled materials don't have to be in a fancy container. Recycling is not only the right thing to do, it makes sense. Recycling pays. Paying to bury our garbage costs each of us. Please do your part. Let's go green, Tullahoma, and recycle.
It's your trademark. That's something special everyone knows and remembers. It's your thing. It's made holidays special for decades and summers unforgettable for the entire neighborhood. It's made everyone laugh every single time. Don't let illness or injury keep you from doing your thing. The rehab team at Life Care Center of Tullahoma is ready to help you live well.
I'm meteorologist Leland Statham from the News Channel 5 Weather Center. Look to Jim Fuller and crew for local news night here on Channel 6.
We're talking today, folks, with Marcey Taylor, who is the District Coordinator for Adult Education in the newly formed District 6, which is comprised of 13 counties. So she moves around quite a bit. And we're talking about the importance of adult education. And we keep trying to say, you know, what's all the fuss about? What difference does it make? Throw it out there again one more time.
Well, I mean, it makes a huge difference. If you're the individual who doesn't have a diploma and you earn it, it's going to make it to where hopefully you on average can earn $10,000 a year more in a job and can continue even going on to get other certificates. So it's very important.
And more likely to get a job to start with.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk again about how do they get started? Where do they go? Who do they call or go see or something?
Well, with such a large area of 13 counties, what we have is we have a toll-free number, and that toll-free number is 1-866-801-4723. That's 866-801-GRAD, G-R-A-D. That way they're able to get us during business hours from whichever county that they are, and we're able to get them information for their local county. But the first thing that they will do when they contact us is they will go through an orientation process. That's where we'll give them information about the program, get them enrolled, as well as give them a preliminary assessment.
They have to come to you to get that.
Yes, sir, they do.
In our case, for example, is the Adult Education Center down in the old West Middle School.
That's exactly right.
You've also got one in Manchester, so there's one of those around. If you'll ask, they can find out where to go to get started.
That's exactly right, and that's why we recommend first contacting us by phone at that toll-free number so that we can talk with the person to see what's going to be most convenient for them, because we've tried to strategically place where our classes are held to remove a transportation barrier for individuals. So what they'll first do when they come to our orientation is we will give them an assessment that is in reading and math, so that the teacher knows what skills they already possess in those subjects. Individual assessment? Yes, sir.
As part of the orientation?
It is.
Okay.
And again, there's no cost for that or for anything that we do. The students don't have to buy books. We've got all that provided for them.
Okay.
We just need them to come.
Yeah. And so you're going to determine at that time where their current skill level is and what you need to work on with them to bring them up to the level where they can pass the test.
That's exactly right.
There is a test you have to pass.
There is a test. And let me tell you, it is a challenging test. Our students are well prepared when they get to that point, but it's just not it is a challenging test. It's one that I'm glad that I don't have to take, because it is
not
a rigorous
good idea to
assessment.
Walk in off the street and take the test.
No, I wouldn't want to do that, but it's obviously able to be passed. That being said, in fact, in Coffee County alone, we've had 19 people who have earned their diplomas just since July 1, when we've got 11 others that are in the process and still taking parts of that exam.
Yeah. And we talked earlier, I think the number that always surprised me was there's something close to 5,000 people in Coffee County who do not have the high school or equivalent.
Yes.
That's a big number.
It is a shocking number.
Yeah, we've got a lot more folks than that in the county, but still that's a very large number that needs to be fixed. And I think we also want to make sure to emphasize, looked at from the employer's standpoint. What is he looking for when he's interviewing people for a job?
Absolutely. And I think that's an excellent point, Tom, because an employer who is interviewing a person who has their high school equivalency diploma, they know that that individual has passed this rigorous exam. They have been tested in reading, they've been tested in math, in science, in social studies, and in their language arts skills, which includes a writing essay assessment, so that they know that that individual is a person who is at a proficient skill level to be able to do the job they need them to do. So that is somebody that an employer can look at with confidence and say, I know this individual based on their education and the fact that they went back and got their high school equivalency diploma. They have those skills that I need as an employer. Because people who come to our program, they have to make sacrifices.
We need to also make sure that we point out, and maybe we point out a couple of times, that in the course of 5 years, by 2022, looked at from the employer standpoint, what is he going to be looking for in terms of the folks applying for a job?
Yes, and that is a huge shift that is happening within our society, because employers, right now, you need a high school diploma or its equivalent to find most jobs. In 2022, they're saying that 30 to even 40% of the jobs that will be available, either existing jobs or new jobs, will require not just that high school diploma or its equivalent, but also a post-secondary certification or some type of post-secondary degree, such as an associate's or a bachelor's type degree.
So again, you need to get on board, folks, because just in the course of 5 years, and the employers already are out there trying to get the message across to the people who are educating that we're not sending them qualified employees. And so that's becoming more and more important, and the world gets more technical, folks. I think we all really are aware of that if we get around to it. So we're talking about in just 5 years, you're going to need something more than a high school diploma. And by that, we're talking about going to the community college and maybe getting a degree there, or the technical colleges. That's always complicated. What's that again?
Get the Tennessee College of Applied Technologies, because they offer certificate programs, which is absolutely 100% skills-based for what a job would need, such as LPN programs. Robotics, those type of programs.
The one that we have for this area, the college, the technical college, is in Shelbyville.
Correct.
And I can recall I had the director, been now a year or two, on the show, and at that time he was talking about the fact that he had more jobs for machinists than he had students. Yes. Everyone that he graduated could immediately go into a good paying job. And he had more jobs than he had people qualified.
Yes.
So that's coming, folks, and the requirements for education are growing. Right. So again, if you could call out that number, and also you could, I guess, just show up down at the Adult Education Center at the high school.
Absolutely. Now, they're there on Tuesdays and Thursdays in Tullahoma. In Shelbyville, they're there on Mondays and Wednesdays, because the staff covers both those areas.
Okay.
So yes, you could always show up to that site as well. We just find it's more convenient for individuals to have that toll-free number, which again is 866-801-4723.
Okay. We probably should have printed that earlier and left it up on the screen, folks, but we didn't. So All right, we're going to need to take a break here in a minute, and there was also another point, and I don't guess we have time to touch on it, the fact that also having an education saves money for the state in terms of welfare, whatever kind of program they wind up, or jail that they wind up, which costs us more money. So it really is cheaper all the way around, as well as better for the individual to get that education.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, let's take a short commercial break, folks, and we'll come back and wrap up.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
We've been talking today, folks, with Marcey Taylor, who is the district coordinator of the newly formed District 6, 13 counties, and she tries to keep the adult education going there. So, Marcey, is there, we keep trying to emphasize the importance of this. Is there something you'd like to say direct to the folks out there?
I tell you that the most important thing I want to communicate is just to let you know that it's never too late. We're going to work with anybody who comes with us. Most of us know somebody who lacks their diploma, and it's like handing that person a $10,000 check to actually just give them the information, give them that toll-free number to call. We're going to do everything we can to get people through the program as quickly as possible so that they can move on with their lives. Just give us a call so that we can get you started.
What does it do to their chance of getting a job?
It absolutely increases it exponentially.
Big number.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. And it was, we mentioned, and we didn't really need to emphasize that, but having that education and being out making a living for yourself and your family also saves the state a lot of money, and supplemental programs going on, like poverty programs, and so.
Well, individuals who are making more money are able to better give back in their communities.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They're paying taxes instead of taking them away. Okay. Well, with that, Marcey, I want to thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. And, I appreciate it.
We will ask Philip to put your number up again quickly. But meanwhile, folks, thanks for joining us and inviting us into your parlor, and we'll see you next time.